For 17 months, he didn't know if he'd ever do this again. Now just 7 days away, Kevin Owens could be doing it for the biggest moment of all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kevin Owens!
KO, who a week ago looked CM Punk in the eye and said, I never bought it. Talking about Punk changing. Says he's the same arrogant man Owens has always known.
There's a seriously volatile history with that man, CM Punk, the man who holds the WWE Championship. Well, for the first time ever, stunningly, despite the tenured history of these two world champion level stars, next week, live on SmackDown in Toronto, they go one-on-one.
At home in Canada for KO. A guy who knows something about winning championships at home. Did that in Chicago, now he'll be in Toronto to meet Owens. CM Punk.
A man who knows a thing or two about getting under opponents' skin too.
Yeah, like last week when he told Owens, without me, you wouldn't be here. That it's Punk who opened the door for guys like KO.
Suggests he's done it once again here, not allowing KO to speak. Abruptly busting in on whatever KO was about to say, but that is the CM Punk way.
Clobbering time is 7 days away on SmackDown. Talked about opening the door for that man and guys like him. In Toronto, the best in the world intends to slam that door shut, Wade.
What do you think about CM Punk's history, his success that he's had in his hometown of Chicago?
Yes.
Well, next week in Toronto, the boot is on the other foot. KO is a Canadian guy, and I would suggest that these cheers ringing out right now for CM Punk are not going to be there in Toronto. I imagine they will be heavily in favor of KO, and how will CM Punk respond to that?
Their first ever match against each other. First ever after all these years.
Ooh.
Next Friday in Toronto, the Undisputed Championship. "10 years since Owens was world champion."
There is hatred deep in the eyeballs of KO as he bears down on Punk.
Now, you're a lot of things, Kevin Owens, but I don't think you're a coward. I'm pretty sure whatever you were about to say concerns me. So why don't you go ahead, give these people what they want. Say it to my face. The floor is yours. Is it great to be alive on a Friday night in Boston, Massachusetts, or what? What are we waiting for? Come on.
You know, it's pretty ironic that you come out here talking about me saying things to your face. Because last week we were in this ring a foot away from each other, and yet you chose to be all the way down there with your back turned to call me, what was it, a fat slob? Of course, the camera caught it. It's not exactly the language you use, but it's right around there.
So wait, you think I won't say that to your face?
No, I'm sure you would have no problem saying things to my face because, I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but our story begins really 20 years ago.
All right, you want to educate the people as to why Kevin Owens doesn't like me? Go right ahead. Smarten them up.
Okay, see, 20 years ago, me and Phil wrestled for the same independent promotion, and he was the big top guy. I was just someone trying to make a name for myself, and on that night, you, of all the things you could have done, of all the ways you could have decided for things to go, you chose to berate me, insult me, and scream at me in a locker room full of my peers.
20 years you've been holding on to this. This is what this is all about. 20 years.
It's not all of that. See, I don't like you for a lot of reasons. That's one of them. But it's also what happened in the last 20 years. The person you've been, the things you've said, the things you've done, the way you've treated people I care about, good friends of mine.
Oh, which ones? I think you're going to have to be a little bit more specific. I'm pretty sure your friends hate me.
Hey, you might think I'm talking about only 3 of them, but trust me, every friend I have in this industry hates you because they see right through you.
Being hated by losers is the price I pay for not being one of them.
And that's another perfect example of why I despise you. You know, I see it back there, a locker room full of people that look up to you, and why? Because you came back here and you made amends and you made everything okay. There's one guy left that still doesn't like you, and that's me. And you know why? I will never like you. The reason being that everything you do, everything you say is performative. You, look at me when I'm talking to you. You are a phony. The only reason you came back here and made everything right was because you had no choice. Because the kind of person you are led you to screw things up everywhere else you went. You had no choice. And I don't respect people like you. And while you were gone, regardless of what you think about me, I'm gonna step back, your breath's a little rough. Regardless of what you think about me, I did pretty well for myself. 12 years consistently in this ring before this injury. And what did I do? I main evented everywhere. I won titles. I became Universal Champion. What else did I do? Oh, here's a good one. Something you'll never get to do. I main evented WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You did. Man, you really did, didn't you? Congratulations. I was happy for you then. I'm happy for you now, but you honestly think you would have been afforded those opportunities if I was still here? Like I wouldn't have been picked before you?
Clearly, you think that, so tell me, tell everyone why. Just do it finally. We're face to face. Stand a foot away from me and tell me why you think I wouldn't have gotten those opportunities. Huh? Because it's the same thing you thought 20 years ago, isn't it? What am I, huh? Just some fat indie slob? A fan who's on the wrong side of the guardrail? Just say it to my face.
Is that what I think of you, or is that what you think of yourself? You said it earlier, I got no problem saying it to your face, but I'm here on SmackDown Friday night in Boston, undisputed champion of World Wrestling Entertainment, and I got a locker room full of guys that want to be champion. Hell, I'm calling out Obafemi, and I get endometriosis instead. I look at you and I see a lot of things, Kev. And you want to listen to me disparage you? It would put to light all the great things that you have done in your career. I look at you and I see a tough guy. I do. I legitimately do. I would be foolish to look past that and to take you lightly next week in Toronto. I look at you and I see a guy that speaks 2 languages when I can barely speak 1. So in my book, that makes you smarter than me. But then I also see a guy that avoids the work, who doesn't try to be at least 1% better every single day. And to me, man, that makes you stupid. I see wasted potential. I see a tough guy, but he's a bum. You avoid the hard work. You say I'm a shapeshifter when really the word you should be using is evolved. I evolved, I adapt, I overcome. I want to be 1% better than I was the day before. Hell, if you would have done some of the work, even half the work that I've done in my career, instead of avoiding it, maybe you would have been able to avoid that Bill Goldberg spear that ended the last time you had a championship belt around your waist.
You think I want to be more like you? No chance. I spent my entire career making sure I wouldn't be anything like you, because you could see all of that in me, what you just said. What I see when I look at you is someone who, even though main events at WrestleMania, world titles, all the money, when you go home, I'm convinced you look in the mirror and you hate what you see. I don't. I love who I am. I've always been the same guy. I am the same person you screamed at 20 years ago. And guess what? That fat indie loser is in the same ring as you right now, and he's facing you for the WWE title next week. And you know what? Being like you probably wouldn't have helped, because after all, you couldn't avoid that Roman Reigns spear at WrestleMania.
I look at you, Kev, and I see myself from 20 years ago. I see somebody who's stubborn. I see somebody who's loud. I see somebody who's always thinking he's the smartest guy in the room. But I still see the same guy I saw 20 years ago.
Does that bother you? Because I never cared what you thought of me. I never seeked out your advice, seeked out your guidance. Man, let me tell you something. I have regretted for 20 years not punching you in the mouth in that locker room.
There's nothing between us right now but air and opportunity, Kev. Huh? Why don't you do it now?
You know why I didn't do it then?
I know why.
No, you don't. It's because if I did, I know you would have ruined my career, and that would have been it. And you know why I'm not gonna do it now? Because next week in Toronto, I don't just get to punch you in the face. I waited 20 years, I can wait 7 more days and beat your bitch ass for the WWE title after I do it.
"20 years ago, you were a greenhorn who stepped into my locker room and thought you could get away with speaking to me disrespectfully. And you've been crying about the consequences for 20 years. You want to wait 7 days? That's fine by me. You say you never looked up to me? That's fine by me, because in Toronto, that's exactly what you're gonna do. When I put your fat ass to sleep.
So many layers to dig through. 7 days of anticipation for the first time ever, and with it all on the line in KO's home country, in Toronto, Punk and Owens for the undisputed WWE Championship.
20 years worth of unexploded ordnance is going up next week in Toronto. KO versus Punk.